So let's go. So thank you and welcome and thank you for coming. This presentation is about Northeastern's new S.A.I.L app and how S.A.I.L will help you with getting accepted into your medical program. So the S.A.I.L app is it's an app, but it's also an app that frames sort of a mindset of thinking about what you're doing in a way that will help you to organize what you've learned and how you think about things that you've learned, so you can kind of pull together all of the information that you've learned in a way that when you sit down to put together your application, you'll really have done a lot of the thinking that you need to do and a lot of kind of the integrating the concepts of what you learned to understand what you need to know for your application. So what does this mean? Oh, whoops. Let's just see if I can advance this. All right. So here you are, you're kind of hanging out, you're looking towards your goal, which can seem really far away. And it is a lot to think about, to plan and prepare for applying to a medical program. There are a lot of moving pieces, and you just really can't think about putting together all the pieces all at once. So what you really have to do is you really have to be thinking about it kind of in a step-by-step process. And you also have to kind of think about, well, how am I going to organize all of the different moving pieces that I have together? So the way you start thinking about this is you really start thinking about, okay, what are the schools looking for in an applicant? And then how am I going to match my experiences with what the schools are looking for? And how am I going to follow my interests in reaching what the schools are looking for? So what do the schools look for in an applicant? So AAMC, the Association of American Medical Colleges, defined a group of skills and characteristics that facilitate effective practice. So this is the AAMC competencies. This is a sort of set of characteristics that they look for in physicians. So basically, this is not specific concrete knowledge, although there are a few competencies that have specific concrete knowledge, like living systems and human behavior. But more than that, they're interested in you having the skills and the knowledge to know, well, I have this patient that has X condition. How do I learn more about it? Because we know that the field of knowledge that you're moving into is going to be so great that you're never going to know everything. You're going to have to be a learner throughout your lifetime. So as a learner, how do you constantly keep um, acquiring that knowledge? Well, you have this set of competencies. So you're always interested in living systems. You have an ability to learn about human behavior. You're a good writer. You have the ability to think critically. So when you read a journal article, you can understand, okay, well, this is what the research is, and this is what they're saying about the field. They also are really interested in you having a service orientation. So the medical schools care that you want to go into a career where you help people. I mean, it seems kind of obvious, right? A doctor spends all of their time helping people. Sometimes people forget about that in the rush of putting together an application. They care really deeply that you have a good sense of ethics. They really care that you're resilient. So medical school is hard. They care that you have the ability when things get hard to persist. So all of these things are really important to them. Other things that they look for, they look that you have a set of experiences. So they want you to explore the field that you're going into. They want you to spend time with a doctor, with a dentist, with an optometrist, a veterinarian, a PA, whoever it is that you're aspiring to be, whatever field you're aspiring to be in. They want you to spend some time making sure, without a doubt, that you're going towards the correct field. Why do they want this? Because these are really rigorous and difficult careers, and they want to make sure that you know what you're getting into before you go in that direction. They can only train so many doctors, right? There are only so many seats in medical school, and if they give you a seat, they're not giving it to somebody else. And that means, they really want you to work in that field because they don't want to educate you and then have you be like, I don't think I'm going to do this, just because that means there's one fewer doctor and we have a physician shortage. So they're also looking for research experience. They're looking for community service experience. Couple of reasons on the community service experience. One is because medicine is a service profession. They want to see that you like to help people. Also, with community service, they want you to get outside your bubble and meet people who are different from you. And then unique experiences that follow your passions. They don't want everything you do to be about medical school or dental school. They want you to actually have interests. It's okay for you to do things that you just really like to do just because that's what you want to do. And then they want to see you develop relationships, right? You want to talk to your faculty because you're here to learn from them. You want to develop mentoring relationships in your field. You want to connect with people on campus in the Boston community. So all of this is a whole lot of stuff that you need to do. So like the little man with the looking glass, it can feel really overwhelming. And so the S.A.I.L app offers a lot of resources for you to kind of keep track of what is it that I need to do, when am I going to do it, and how have I done it? And then it offers you the ability to look back in retrospect and say, okay, what did I do? What did I learn from it? So we're going to look a little bit at the preparation and application resources that you can get from the S.A.I.L app. So the way that the S.A.I.L app is built, it has a whole bunch of different competencies listed, and the competencies are put together in two sort of different ways. They have foundational masteries, and they have these competencies and proficiencies. So the foundational masteries are listed above, and you can see that there's an awful lot of overlap between these foundational masteries that S.A.I.L has and the foundational masteries that the AAMC had. So intrapersonal skills, interpersonal skills were both AAMC competencies, and they're both competencies in S.A.I.L. We talked about resilience and perseverance within the AAMC. We also see it here. We talk about comfort with ambiguity. We talk about empathy. We talk about persistence. So we talk about a lot of these things. Critical thinking, we talked about critical thinking already, and ethical reasoning. That's stuff in the toolkit. Those are also things that are listed. Within the competencies below, we also see intellectual ability, which is something that we talked about. And again, with the intellectual ability in S.A.I.L, it's not the same thing as, oh, you must get a B or an A on your math test. It's more about being able to use the ability that you get from your classes and transfer that to any sort of setting, because you're not going to be out in the real world taking math tests, right? You're going to be out in the real world solving problems. It also has a whole social consciousness and commitment section, which is about advocacy, civic mindedness, inclusivity, all the service orientations that the AAMC also emphasizes as important. S.A.I.L also includes within it a whole set of activities. So within, like on campus, everybody on campus, all the faculty and staff on campus will be able to add all of the activities that they have going on. So for example, the pre-health program will include activities that we have within our office, whether we have a workshop, whether we have a wellness event, any kind of activity we have will add into S.A.I.L. So you'll be able to go into S.A.I.L and you'll be able to see, well, what activities are going on. You'll be able to sort them by competencies and by those foundational masteries. And so if you're thinking, wow, I really think resilience is important, and I really want to improve my ability with resilience. What are some things that I can do to do that? You can actually go through the S.A.I.L app and you can look for some things that say resilience. So maybe there's a lecture that talks about some other people's experiences where they were resilient. And so you can go and you can hear, well, this person overcame a really big challenge. This is how they did it. And then you can learn from their experiences and be like, okay, when I'm faced with a challenge like that, maybe that's something that, this is how I could adapt that to my own living. Or maybe there will be community service activities. So that there's a one-day community service event posted and you can volunteer. So there's a wide range of activities. And then the other thing that there is in there is there's space for reflection. So after you do an activity, whatever that activity is, you can just open an entry in there and make a note about it. And we'll go into the app and we'll just look at that in a couple of minutes. But you can make a note to yourself. Let's say you spent a day volunteering at the hospital and you talked to a patient and they said it took them 2 hours to get there. And you can just write a note to yourself like, wow, I really realized from this that a person's experience occurs long before they get to the doctor's office, right? It occurs when they're planning on how do I even get to the doctor's office. And then a doctor's visit can take like 5 hours. And that's a huge chunk of their day. So you can just write these little notes to yourself and then you tag them with, for example, clinical. So that when you get to the point where you're filling out your application and you're thinking, well, what have I learned in the clinical arena? You can pull up all of those things that you've tagged as clinical and say, well, here are the 50 things that I've written and what's the pattern and the themes that I pull. So you're only writing one short sentence each time you do a clinical activity, or maybe you're writing a little story to yourself. But over time, all of those stories sort of build up and you start to see patterns and themes emerge and you start to get a sense of, wow, this is how I've grown over time. And this is all of the things that I've learned over the time that I've been here. And that's something that can move forward on your application and then during interviews. And then the other thing that you can find in S.A.I.L is building and leveraging networks. So you can connect with other students and with alumni. You can also kind of keep track of connections and relationships within there, and you can develop those skills and behaviors and values to form those professional relationships. And some of that is just kind of going to things like, workshops with career development on, okay, how do I network? How do I put this all together? And some of it might be more organic, where you meet people and you kind of have a sense of, okay, I met this person. I'm just going to write a note to myself about what we talked about. So next time I meet with them, I can just bring that up. So the idea with S.A.I.L and their theme with S.A.I.L is learning happens everywhere. You just want to keep track of it in real time. So learning really does happen everywhere. It happens in the classroom, obviously. It happens on co-op, but sometimes it happens in smaller ways and in places that you wouldn't expect it. And so you always have your phone with you. So you can always just write a note to yourself like, wow, I learned this. You're walking down the street, you see a person who's homeless and you start to realize, things about their life. And you can just write yourself a quick note about the things that you might realize, it's raining out and wow, it seems really difficult to be living on the street and all of your stuff gets wet. Just really quick note. Okay, let's visit the website. All right, here we go into S.A.I.L. So here is S.A.I.L. This is the homepage for students. Now this is a downloadable app. It goes onto your phone. I'm just going to open the web version just to make it bigger. You can see that part of what is really important about S.A.I.L is it does provide you this network of connections, and a really important piece and a really important thing for medical programs is building your network of connections, because you really can't do this alone. You really do need to connect with people for that. So we're going to go into the web. Now this is my S.A.I.L profile. So this is some of the stuff. So I log in, I see my timeline, and you can see I've built into my timeline a goal. So you can make goals for yourself. And I made this goal of getting into UMass. And part of my goal is I was like, okay, well, getting into UMass, that's a huge, huge thing. So how do I break that down? So I decided I would put in a bunch of milestones. So I need some clinical experience. I need some community service. I have to get to know faculty. I need research experience. I decided this was intellectual and professional. And then I tagged it a little bit here, and I decided it really needed all of the foundational masteries. Now this is 4 milestones, but I think that, you might want to be doing more than 4, because you can kind of check off, okay, well, I sort of completed this. So, you can put in different things. So if you're doing co-ops, you can actually say, well, this is one co-op that I want to do. I want to do a clinical co-op. I want to do a research co-op. I really want to have this volunteer experience. I'm really interested in doing this research on campus. Um, and when you put it in this way and you give yourself a big timeline for it, it makes things seem a lot more doable when you just have this giant thing in front of you, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It just seems too insurmountable because there's too much to do. You don't know what to do all at once. Opportunities, it's going to add some of this for you. So this is a class that I'm taking right now. And it will add your classes in there. You can also add opportunities. So I put a few opportunities in there. And then moments, you can add moments in there as well. And those moments are those times when you're like, aha, I had this moment, that like aha moments. And then calibrations, I'm actually not sure what a calibration is, to be honest. So we're just going to go down to the bottom here. Add moment, find opportunity, and create goals. So to add a moment, this is something that I recommend doing. You can just add in here a clinical moment. So just quickly, you add in your moment, you describe it, 300 characters, so it's really short. You can tag it, okay, this was a clinical moment, and then, if you have an attachment, you can upload an attachment. But so volunteer day, met with patient X, learned Y, whatever Y is, tag it clinical, and I can mark it as significant. I can make it private or public. And that is kind of significant because with the, okay, with that, with the private or public, you will be able in the future to share these things. Oh, whoops, sorry. I'm going to choose a dimension. I think this was civic. And then I'm going to tag it clinical. Oops. And next. Okay. And then I'm going to finish it. So it just adds a moment for me here. So I can see volunteer day is in here in my moments. But as those moments build up, you'll have more and more, and you can start seeing those themes. I'm not sure you're able to pull up a whole like list of themes yet. That might not be until S.A.I.L 2.0, but they say that is coming. So that you'll be able to see that in the future. You can also come in here and find opportunities. So if you're like, okay, what is a functional mastery that I feel like I really need to work on? I think I need something that helps me with leadership. So you can look in here and think, okay, well, what are some things here that help with leadership? And sometimes you're like, I don't know, does 6x6 intramural field hockey league really help me with leadership? I mean, maybe it does. Maybe instead of that, being a house manager would be a better leadership opportunity. So you want to look through them and think about, okay, what's going to be something that I enjoy and seems to fit those goals for me. So you can look through here to see all kinds of opportunities. The network is coming soon, apparently. But one of the things that will be nice, I think, is that as you are able to add more to this, you'll start to be able to connect with other students. And then as an alumni, you'll be able to make some of your experiences public. So you'll be able to be a mentor for previous student or for the next group of students, so that, you can sort of leave this stuff open so that they'll be able to look at what you did and be like, oh, this is one path that people can take. Let's just, oh, sorry. Let's just put this back into full screen. Okay. So that's sort of a big picture look at the web version. Now, the app version is obviously a little bit more friendly. In the app, you get tiles as you build up experiences. So as you get competencies, you can kind of see, oh, I'm increasing my competencies. And you can kind of get a sense of, okay, what am I learning about? What things have I focused on and developed strength in, and where do I see myself getting better and improving and increasing my abilities and things. I just like to put the competencies down again because I like to share them with people. So as we see here, you can use the app to find activities that fit with your interests. You build tiles and competencies. One of the things that I like about S.A.I.L, it has a wellness competency. So in addition to intellectual, global, civic, and professional, there's wellness in here. That is not listed in any of the AAMC competencies, but it's something that's really important. You can't take care of other people if you aren't taking care of yourself. So I definitely encourage people to focus on that wellness as well. And then, like I said, you can build those moments over time, and you can understand your learning at a different level. And so here's kind of what it looks like at the end. So I'm not sure if you have any questions. Since we only have one audience member, I guess we'll have limited numbers of questions. But if you do have questions, definitely feel free. Northeastern, I believe, will be having sessions where you can go to and learn a little bit more about the S.A.I.L platform. I'm glad it was helpful, and I definitely recommend playing around with it, trying it out, using it. It's a good place to organize your thoughts and information. It's a good way to be able to look back at your learning and to see, okay, this is where I was, this is where I am now, and get a sense of your growth. And then it's a really good way to kind of keep track of everything that you've been doing, because when you submit an application, you will really need that information. You're going to need to know what your learning was and have to talk about it in kind of a detailed way. And then the final thing is, it's a great place to be a mentor, because you can just really passively share that information with future students who can look at it and look up to you and see, oh, this is how one person built their success. So thank you for watching this S.A.I.L presentation, and I look forward to seeing you all in future presentations.